Welcome to Beyond Sunday, where we have a cup of coffee, a conversation, and cultivate our relationships with one another in Christ. Beyond Sunday is a podcast ministry of Kindred Church, broadcasting to you from beautiful Orange County, California. And now, here's your host, Tom Grossi.
Well, welcome to another episode of Beyond Sunday, where we have a cup of coffee and a conversation and cultivate our relationships with Christ. My name is Tom Grossi. I'm the minister of music here at Kindred Community Church and the host for Beyond Sunday. And we've just had a great time in conversation with many people in our worship and music ministry. And I hope that you've enjoyed getting to know them a little bit better. You know, when you see many of our talented musicians and singers and instrumentalists and technicians, when you see them perhaps on the platform around the campus, you only kind of know so much about them. But when you get to have a venue like this, where at your leisure you can sit in and listen to an interview, it's always a nice opportunity to be able to hear about someone's life, hear about someone's passions, some hobbies that they have, and some ways in which God's worked in their life. And I hope that the guests that we've put before you have been interesting. I know I've been blessed, and it's been a joy to be able to have our guests with us. Today's episode will not disappoint. It's a great thrill to have James Antonius with us. And when I think of James, I think of another famous quote by Margaret Thatcher, the Prime Minister of England, who once said, "Don't follow the crowd, let the crowd follow you." And when I think of that quote, I think of whether you're going to lead the crowd or you're going to follow. I think of a guy like James, a guy who has, in his youth, has done some remarkable things, both in his academic life as well as in his musical life and his spiritual life. So, James, it's a joy to have you with us. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Well, James, as we've been doing in this, we've just kind of been bouncing around 5 questions, and I know that the congregation would love to just hear from you. Many times when you play on Sunday mornings, whether it's in my life group or whether it's just kind of via email, through the years, and I've shared this with you, someone's asked, who's that young man at the piano? And when we've done some of our 4-hand piano pieces, I know it's been to the great enjoyment of a lot of people, and I thought you'd be a great guest on this podcast because you have a really cool story. You also have a really exciting future that I want you to get into a little bit about what you're looking forward to doing in sort of your next chapter as you move from Kindred and continue in your academic aspirations in the medical career. So, but first, just tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe a little bit about your family. I know, of course, you have siblings, and just tell us a little bit about that first.
So, I'm James.
Yeah.
I just finished undergrad at UCLA.
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins, exactly. Don't talk to me about USC.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and playing piano. Originally, I'm first generation Lebanese, so my parents are both from Lebanon. You sometimes can see my sister. You know my sister,
Danielle, wonderful singer, and
sings
sings also with us as well.
So sometimes on the piano she'll sing and direct me how to play.
Yeah, that's right. So, and then your mom and dad's names?
Walid and Rima, Antonios, both. My dad's a retired engineer, worked on the space shuttle with NASA.
Wow.
And mom's a piano teacher.
Yes. Gee, apple doesn't fall far from the tree there. So, and then your older brother, right?
Yes.
And he's in the East Coast right now. Is that correct?
He's a neurosurgeon working at Yale Hospital. So
also the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. More on that in a minute.
Also a pianist, very accomplished pianist.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's remarkable. And how long have you guys been at Kindred?
I think going on 7 or 8 years.
I think. Because I know I've been here a little over 6, and I know that you just had come within the year, or about a little over a year maybe, when I got here. Well, talent runs through your whole family, but also what runs through your whole family, and it really, I think, starts with your mom. We have had the great pleasure to be invited to some of her amazing Lebanese menu extravaganzas, and your mom's an incredible cook. You would think that it's catered. It's just beautiful looking. You almost don't want to eat it, just take pictures of it all. But you must have leftovers after those parties, right?
Well, they say Middle Eastern cooking is healthy, but they don't take into account the serving size. Because you have to, Lebanese culture, well, Lebanese woman, when you say, okay, I'm full, they say, no, we'll put 10 more servings on your plate. So you end up with 10 scoops of hummus instead of the original one you wanted. So
Nice.
it's not as healthy as they say.
That's great. Well, it's been a joy for both my wife and I to be with you and your folks and Danielle, and just recently to celebrate with you in your graduation from UCLA, as well as on to med school, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But it's been a joy, really, James, to watch you. When I first got here again was about a little over 6 years ago. I think you were still in high school, of course, at that time, and in KSM and playing keyboard. And our former youth pastor, Matt Shackelford, I remember, told me, I think even in the interview process, he says, we got this child prodigy guy on the keyboard. His name's is James, and you come in with the binder and sit down and play a Bach fugue or something. I said, this kid's got all the skills. So, well, you're not a kid anymore. You're a young man and has grown in the Lord, and it's been a joy to serve with you. And I've enjoyed learning and playing with you, and I know our congregation has benefited greatly from you and your service with us. And you told us a little bit about how long you've been at Kindred. What kind of brought you guys to Kindred? I know that you were in a local church in the Corona area, and then you came over. Maybe just kind of, because there's a lot of people that are watching, a lot of people that are coming to Kindred fairly new to Kindred. And it's always kind of neat to hear people's story of what, how you ended up making Kindred your home.
Yeah, so we came from North Point, EV Free, Corona.
Mm-hmm.
I used to play piano for the children's choir. That's kind of how I got started. Would help with their music ministry sometimes. And then we just wanted to look for a new church, and we came across Kindred. And I started going to KSM, and I met Christian Rob and Matt Shackelford and Johnny. And I think it was either the first or second Sunday, are like, do you want to come play the piano for us?
Yeah.
So right then and there, they put me on the keyboard
Plugged
and I
in.
started.
Yeah, you're hired. Yeah. No, that's good. And we love to be able to have people, sometimes it's ministries that attract people, but when someone comes like your mom and dad and you and your sister, when you come with a heart of service, those are the people we love to have join, because they're not coming to church as a consumer. They're coming to church as a participant. They're coming to church willing and desirous to serve. They hold their gifts with an open hand and say, this is what God's given me to use. How can we use it here to further the gospel of Christ? And so that's exciting for us to be able to see. So take me a little bit back to, because you didn't just wake up one morning and have the gifts and skills that you have on the piano.
I wish.
Yeah, I wish too. Many lessons. You touched on your mom being a teacher. I know she was early in your
At 4 years old,
life.
I started
So
piano.
yeah, so you started at 4 years old at
4
piano.
years old. And
Wow.
continued with my mom for 9 or 10 years, and then transferred to another music teacher to take me through like advanced Rachmaninoff and Beethoven, because it's hard.
Yes.
But yeah, with my mom, she taught me all the basics and like advanced theory, composition. I think the last piece I did with my mom was a Chopin etude, which I'm so-so on Chopin. He's a hit or miss for me. I personally would put least above Chopin. I know some people.
Oh, you're one of those
Yeah,
kind of
one of those.
musicians. Kidding. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. Well, and so that you started at 4, and did you ever experiment with any other instrument? I know that I believe you have some woodwind experience as well too.
Not
So
a rich experience.
yeah,
I'm not that great on the clarinet, but once you learn the scale on the piano and learn all the theory and technique, kind of picking up another instrument is not
right.
that difficult.
It's not.
It's just learning the technique, but even that takes a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked up clarinet for band around like 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, and continued with that. And then in middle school, my band teacher said, no, we can't have you on the clarinet. We need you on the alto saxophone. Then
I played alto sax in junior high school. I'll be darned. We have that in common.
I have mixed feelings on the saxophone because I was placed right next to the tenor saxophone. And
Yeah.
they would overpower
Sure.
the rest of the orchestra, and they do their own show-off jazz things. So I thought, take me back to my piano.
Well, James, as you've pointed out, which is really true, that once some rudiments of theory and even music history understanding, once you kind of get that under the belt, then oftentimes you can go to a different instrument and learn some skills and advance rather quickly to becoming fairly acceptable, maybe not proficient, but at least acceptable in that instrument just because of the musicianship, because piano does provide that baseline of theory so much.
Piano's the best instrument. You
Yeah.
should know that.
Yeah, well, I tell you, the only thing about a piano is that it's not quite portable, right?
Yeah, that's
You can't quite carry grand piano around a campfire.
I was reading that some of these famous performers actually fly their own grand pianos with them. Like
Sure.
concert grand pianos, they fly them. I thought, man, I wish I had that kind of power to fly my own piano with me.
Yes, I actually have. It's interesting you say that. I have experience with one time in college. We had someone coming into doing a master class, and they were flying in to do a recital at SDSU. So they were sort of swung by our little private college before they went to SDSU, and they just did a quick master class on our Steinway at the campus. But in the parking lot, en route to their SDSU for their recital, was their truck with their piano. And they traveled with their actual grand piano. So
It's nice.
it is nice.
In that way, it's portable, I guess.
Yeah, an expensive portability, but portable. Well, James, let's pivot just a little bit on that, because I think a lot of people know about your love for music, and of course I know that, and I love and appreciate that. But what some may not know about this talented young man is that he's going to be your next heart surgeon, right? Is that what you're hoping for?
Hopefully people don't need a heart
Yes,
surgeon.
no, I need it. I hope I
But
don't
if
have to
you're-
knock on your door.
But if you need a doctor, maybe I'll be
Yeah.
there.
So tell us a little bit. You were accepted to medical school. Tell us about the specific discipline that you're hoping to go into, and your desire for what kind of residency and what kind of discipline you'd like to do. I think that would be exciting for people to know, and also to know how to pray for you would be really great. Those who are watching this podcast who know you and your family, and those that aren't. We have people from really all over the country and all over the world that watch us, and there might be someone who's your age right now who's undergoing a future where it's a little scary and a little uncertain. In about a month, you're getting ready to take a really big step.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a lot of certain things out there, but some uncertain things out there. So speak a little bit to that person of what is it that you want to do with your medical profession, and what are things God's kind of taught you through it?
Mm-hmm. I guess I can start from UCLA. So
Sure.
UCLA, I studied molecular cell and developmental biology, and that had a big emphasis on research. And I love research, but I don't think it was a career goal for me, especially because there is a lot of uncertainty in research, whether you get grants or projects. And I loved biology, especially human physiology, so it seemed that medicine and medical school would be the natural pivot for me. So I applied. Well, first I had to take the MCAT, which, if people don't know, is the med school admissions test, and it's around 7 hours.
It's a terrifying test.
It's a terrifying test, and the first of many tests to come, unfortunately.
Wow.
But I guess you want someone operating on you. You want them to be well-versed in what they're actually doing. So after that, I applied to around 39 schools, and that's the average. People because med school is such a competitive and very confused process, to put it mildly. You have to apply to so many schools and shoot all the darts and see which one sticks. So that was around 200 essays of writing, because each med school has, well, you have the primary application, which is kind of a general application. You have all your activities, research, piano, etc., and your personal statement. And then each separate college sends you their own list of essays, varying from 5 to 10. So I spent all of last summer writing. I mean, there is some repetition, but you have to make it work for each separate school because they have their own mission statements. So that wasn't a very fun summer. I honestly preferred studying for the MCAT more. But
Wow.
after that whole
It's like you
process,
practically got a postgraduate degree in English after that was all said and done with all the writing that you did.
I do have to give thanks to my family because they also checked around 200 essays worth.
Proofreading that, goodness.
Yeah, it was not fun, but the end goal was exciting because I got into Yale Med School and I plan to go there in less
Did you hear
than a
that,
month.
folks? Yale Med School.
Go Bulldogs!
Wow. That's remarkable. So UCLA, Bruins to Yale Med School. Now, Yale is in the state of Connecticut, right? And you're going to be living where in Connecticut?
In New Haven specifically.
Mhm.
So I guess you could say it's the middle between the East Coast.
Mhm.
It's 2 hours from Boston, 3 hours from Philly, and 1 hour from New York. So
Close to Martha's Vineyard.
close to
bit.
Martha's Vineyard, close to where Jaws apparently takes place.
Yeah, and great seafood, so you'll
Yes.
have a good taste for that.
Yes.
Some amazing restaurants out
Mhm.
there, right?
Mhm.
So wow, and you'll stay on campus, or are you going to be living off campus?
I'm going to be living 5 minutes from campus.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And your brother is already there, is he
He's
not?
already there, so we'll be living in a 2-bedroom apartment together, which is very nice.
Now,
Okay.
what's his discipline? What is he? What is he?
Neurosurgery.
Neurosurgery.
Which is-
so the brain.
The brain, which is considered to be the hardest specialty of them all. I mean, their work days are 30-hour work days. But he likes it, so.
Wow.
I want to go into, well, I don't like neurosurgery that much. I prefer something cardiac related. So either cardiac surgery or cardiology is where I'm interested. But who knows, maybe
Wow.
orthopedic will
Yeah.
pop up somewhere.
Yeah. So that'll probably be about 4 years, you think, that you'll be there, or will it be longer?
So the way it works is med school is usually around 4 years. The first 2 or 1.5 years are your basic sciences and your basic physiology, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of your grounding for what's to come. Then your third year is when you rotate to different areas of the hospital, and that's where you solidify your choice. Fourth year is when you apply to different hospitals, and you go and interview and you work at those hospitals for like a month or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's so you apply, but it's not a normal application. So what you do is you rank all the schools that you like, but the schools themselves rank you, and they go through this logarithm that matches people. So some people unfortunately don't get matched, and there is a whole other process. So one day in March, it's a specific day where at the same time across the entire nation, they hand you an envelope and you open it and you see which hospital you match to.
So it's like a medical NFL draft,
Basically,
pretty much.
yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So that is also very nerve-wracking.
Boy, I feel so dumb sitting here at this moment. Really, when James gave me the great privilege of writing a letter of recommendation for you, and I thought, me writing you a letter of recommendation, probably the other way around. But when I got a hold, I think, of your transcript. I don't know if it was high school or college or maybe both. It was one letter, folks. It was A. Oh, A minus. He's off his game. So it was remarkable. But and then it's maybe partly why I kind of started our podcast today with that quote from Margaret Thatcher. Is that I've always seen in you that you're not a follower in your thinking, in your heart, in your talent. You're a leader. And I think that's inspiring to young people. It's inspiring to me. I mean, you're a young man, but God's already accomplished so much in you to be able to we believe as Christians, as believers, that all those letters that you sent out, those weren't happenstance, and the fact that you landed at Yale, that also wasn't happenstance. That's God ordained appointment. That's what that in His sovereignty and His plan. For you in your life, that's what He has for you, and that He's behind you, He's with you, and He's before you. And so we just give you huge love and blessing as you head out there. Now you were telling me a few weeks ago that you're kind of looking for a church, and you think that you found one, or tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I found a church right down the block from where I'm going to be living. It's a really nice church, very old Gothic style, the way it's designed. And a lot of the Christians from Yale go there. I know some people in my med school class who will be attending there.
Wow.
So it's nice.
Well, hey, James, as we're just getting close to wrapping up, the 30 minutes goes quick. I just wanted to ask you a little bit, and you could either approach this on the music side of things that we talked about, or even on what's currently, your new venture, though it's not new. You've and that's your career in medicine, and you're going to be able to do both. But if anybody who's watching that has the kind of aspirations to either do what you do or is inspired by your story, I know I am, what would be some counsel or advice maybe that you would give for someone maybe your age, especially given what it takes to get to that level, to finally get that acceptance letter? There could be a lot of discouragement, in sending out letters, or, what am I doing with my life? I think that you have a good ability to be able to kind of speak to that person a bit, because I think you've been long suffering in sticking to the task at hand and to putting one small foot in front of the other, and before you know it, you look back, you've walked miles. And so tell us a little bit, just briefly, what would be maybe some advice or counsel that you might have? It might be musical again, it might just be life kind of advice.
Well, I guess the primary thing I would say is to trust in the Lord always, because it's not an easy road, and I wouldn't have gotten to where I'm going to be without the Lord's guiding hand and His help. And all the gifts are from Him, not me. So it's not anything I do. And I was blessed to grow up in a family that really pushed me to excel. So I guess I'm a product of the environment, but that environment being blessed by God and being blessed to be in that kind of family. Also being blessed to be in Kindred, because I know a lot of churches wouldn't allow these opportunities to serve so freely in a worship service. I mean, it was so fun I will miss serving alongside, because it is fun. We always had fun on Thursdays and in the green room with our discussions.
That's right. A green room discussion with James usually could take more than a service or two. So hang on tight. But no, James, it's been a great thrill for me as well. And I selfishly hope that you will come back, and that you will become a hugely successful, abundantly rich doctor here in Orange County, but hope that I never have to be on your operating table.
I'll just wave to you from the window.
Yes, but it's been a great joy. And again, your family has been a blessing and a great encouragement to me personally, and I've appreciated that immensely. And I think people enjoy hearing about you, and now knowing how to pray for you, and knowing that what future that man makes his steps, but man makes his plans, but the Lord orders his steps. And I think that what's happened in your life is that God is ordering these steps in such a way that has entrusted you with taking these big steps of faith, and in your heart and humility, I think that God's going to richly bless you for that. And so we're proud of you, and I'm a better person to know you and to serve alongside of you. So one last question. I knew it wouldn't be painful to get through this interview. We've had a lot of fun together. Tell us your favorite coffee or tea drink, because we've got these coffee cups that everybody gets after they do their interview with us here for Beyond Sunday. But do you have a favorite coffee or a favorite tea drink?
I do. It's either Turkish or Greek, depending on who you ask. But the way it's made is it's this very dark coffee that you put in boiling water, and you don't strain it. So the coffee grind actually stays in there.
So it's like cowboy coffee.
Yeah, it's very, very strong.
Yeah.
And they put it in the little dinky cups, and you drink it. It's strong, but it's really good. It's very bitter and dark.
Yeah. So it's like espresso on steroids a little bit.
Yeah, it's really good.
Wow.
That's my favorite coffee.
So your mom, she knows how to do that too then?
I know, yeah.
You do?
I know how to do that too.
All right.
It's really easy. All you do is just boil water, put coffee, and then you have to keep boiling it until it gets the solution like.
Is it a
fully
specific blend of coffee?
I think so. I
Okay.
think it's like Arabica coffee.
Yeah.
I mean, some people say it's from Greece. Some people say it's from Turkey. Some people say it's from Lebanon. I honestly don't care where it's from. It just tastes
But
good.
it tastes good. And you stay awake for 4 straight days.
Actually,
Yeah.
it puts me to sleep. This American coffee keeps me awake.
Really?
Maybe it's my caffeine dependence.
All right, folks. Well, you heard it. Turkish coffee or Greek coffee, however we call it. So, wow. I guess we're going to have to give that a try, James.
Mhm.
Well, James, it's been a joy to have you with us on our podcast for Beyond Sunday. And it's been a joy to have you listening again for another great conversation, a cup of coffee with one of our members of our worship and music ministry. I encourage you to find us both at our church website, www.kindredchurch.org, or you can find the Beyond Sunday podcast on any of the socials. You could just search for us at Kindred Church on Facebook or Instagram, or you can find us on our YouTube channel, also just searching Kindred Church Anaheim Hills. My name is Tom Grossi, Minister of Music here at Kindred, and I'm with James Antonius. It's been a great time to be with him. God bless you and thank you, and we hope to see you for our next episode.
Thanks for joining this episode of Beyond Sunday, brought to you by Kindred Church. For updates and new episodes, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Kindred Church Anaheim Hills, or join us on Facebook or on our website at www.kindredchurch.org.